Hi. Okay, the Vulcan is finished. I said 2 days, which was a very optimistic view, and it ended up being what, about 7 or so. I'm actually quite happy with the end result, despite it being a very low quality finish by myself. I do like this white. I'm not going to do it the full scheme that it gets in the white scheme, having the black undersection here and various other bits. I'm quite happy with it looking like this, and it'll be good enough to put up somewhere. Now, the one very interesting thing that I did after painting it and putting on decals, so that's those two bottles of white which I showed you. The one was possibly a bit under half and the other one was a bit over half, so it used an entire white bottle of matte white, and I'm glad I used the matte because it did cover very nicely. And then I sprayed with the floor wax to get a satin coat that allowed me to use decal set, the red one. I just used the one, I think it's set, to get all of the decals on, because the acid sort of softens the acrylic floor wax layer and the decal enough to get very good adhesion. So no problems with decals. Luckily they were still good condition. I did a very quick masking job on the windows. It's not perfect, but it's okay. The overspray in the intakes is sort of what I was wanting, so I did the intakes black. They're not really black, they're obviously a white to very light grey colour, but I wanted that almost non-visible effect down there, but just that bit of overspray sort of blends it into that. Tailplane decals, not a huge load. Oh, but what I was saying is, what I did then afterwards was I lightly sanded onto all of the raised panel detail and got all of the panel detail to come out, which is sort of a low amount of work to get a nice bit of extra visual effect. So I'm quite happy with that. There's still a couple of little bits I might do. I might do a little bit of an edging there, and I'll put on the nav lights. And that's about it. No more weathering on this one. But I must admit, it did make me keen to do another one. And if another one crosses my path, I had a look at the adverts and they go for just too high a price for what you're really getting. But, you know, look at that. I mean, the Canberra is a large aircraft, and look how big the Vulcan is. Quite an impressive final product, I'd say. Now I can get busy on the B1. So hopefully all the lessons learned on this one will ensure that the B1 is very good. And then after the B1, I just actually spotted it on the floor here as I was preparing. After the B1, we're going to do something that makes the B1 look small. And I have spoken about it in a previous video, and can you guess what it is? And here it is. The Valkyrie. So I've decided that after the B1 we will tackle this huge Valkyrie, and hopefully all the lessons learned, we can actually do a very good model of the Valkyrie. So how big is this really? Fuselage wise or wing wise, although that's not the full wing. fuselage wise. So that is going to be a huge model. Now, believe it or not, it's not my biggest model yet. There's another one that's waiting, but not quite a fair comparison because it's in 1/48 scale, and that's the 1/48 scale C130, which is my largest model. That one will happen. It's sort of, I have started it and I've started various bits of painting. But anyway, B1 and this one. So this Lockheed Vega is sort of ready to get progress. And I was just doing a bit of test fitting again. Now keep in mind that I've already done a lot of sanding of these two edges to get them to slot into the window slots. You see there's a window section to end up smooth and flush on the top of the wing, which it does at the moment within 0.5 millimeter. It is flush, but I'll show you why it's not good enough yet. And that means quite a bit of fitting and sanding and scraping work left. Okay, so are you going to be able to see this? Maybe if I hold it that way. Okay, there's about a millimeter gap from the wing to the fuselage, and that is because the wing is pressing against the clear part, the canopy piece, and against the back here, and it's not able to go down far enough. So to put that, to give you the idea, okay, can I show you that angle? So you see the wing fits into these angles. Those angles allow it only a maximum amount down. So I need to scrape correctly, differently from top and bottom. So you'll see those angles there, there and there. And that needs to go down about another millimeter, just to the bottom of the frame, the bottom of the curved part of the frame. So you can see the leading edge sort of fits right into there, and it needs to go a bit more down. And that's just scrape and fit, and you don't want to scrape too much, because otherwise you'll end up with a gap on either the upper surface on one of these two upper edges, or too much gap on a lower edge, which is not the worst, but it would be nice if we can get a very nice fit. So we're close, must just do a little bit more, and then that can go on. So while I am gluing pieces on the B1, gluing halves and wings and things like that, preparing to get to the fuselage stage, as I've glued something and I'm waiting for it to dry, I do a bit more scraping and fitting on this. Once I can get that wing perfectly on, once this is all masked up, and that masking also takes a while, so more B1 pieces, bit more masking, and this has got some interesting angles to mask as well, not to mention the curved piece which ends up behind the wing. And I'm just thinking now, at spraying time, well, there's nothing you can do about that unless you left the wing off, and I guess that might be what I have to do, is do all the masking, knowing that it all fits together well, leave this off, close that gap up, and just ensure that this really can get on, which I think it should if everything has been done well. So leave the wing off, paint that separately, mask all the panels, do the decals. You can do wing decals and fuselage decals and everything, and then do final final assembly, because there will be quite a lot of handling. So that is going to take time. That, I don't know. Let's see where we are at the end of this week. Now, in the meantime, a friend of mine has shown me his build, which he did very, very well, but he did say that it was a huge amount of sanding and filing and test fitting and all that. And he did a much better job than I did on this quick build that I tried to do. It, of course, still does leave little problem areas because this is an older model. Like, I mean, the fit of the edges to the intakes, I mean, it's not bad, but there is a line there, and I don't think that's really something you can fill easily and sand off inside there. I don't think it's worth doing that. But you can certainly do a whole lot better job of the wings, the rear fuselage joining, that part was fine, and filing down the fin on the insides before you even glue the halves together, so that you've got a much narrower fin by about at least 0.5 millimeter off each fin side. But of course you don't want to take off much on the trailing edge, so it's a little bit of a delicate one, and if I was going to build another one, I'd have to think and plan how to achieve that. You can get away with thinning out your trailing edge of the fin, obviously, to a degree, but you don't want to just haphazardly sit there filing away. It'll have to be quite a process of filing, test fitting, filing, test fitting, filing, test fitting. What else can I say about this? I do very much like it with undercarriage up. So if I was going to do another one, I'd do it undercarriage up again. I looked at the video on the new one, and now given the choice of the old one and the new one, while the new one has a lot better features and all of that, I'm not that sold on the new one enough to say I would instantly grab it over the old one. At least on the old one, I now know what to do to fix many of the areas. These engine outlets are still a bit of an issue. But I think with a second build, you know, with a lot of these Airfix kits, it ends up being like that. When I discuss some of the old Airfix kits, the small ones, one has often built enough of them that you're sort of prepared for the problems that you're going to encounter. And one of those that was very bad was the Defiant. But having done them, you're not that scared of them. So I guess it's just the case that this is so much bigger and so many more problems that have more consequences, but really it all comes down to the same thing as the mold quality on the old kits. So I guess I'll have to take that back. I won't say that I'll never do another old Vulcan. I might actually do another old Vulcan. Okay, now I'm going to have to find the instructions are here. Let us have a quick look. I mean, look at this row of engines. That is just huge. Decals, they look good. I'm happy with that. No damage to them, no water damage. That looks okay, good. This is this testers or monogram? What is this? AMT Earthball. They call it a limited edition. I don't know why. It is a very long thin delta, and that whole delta is possibly not in excess of wingspan of the Vulcan, but probably very close in wing area. Be interesting to compare when we're finished. Very long aircraft. I just want to see the clear parts. Okay, luckily the clear parts are, I'll just take them out of here. And what's the sealed? Still sealed in there, but they're still good. So one is sort of a windows at a bit of an angle, and the other one is at less of an angle, so that'll be nose droop. Okay, not complicated at all. A very, very simple. So everything about this model is just huge parts. Look at that. That is a very, very simple build process. Undercarriage up or undercarriage down? I think undercarriage up, but let's just look at the undercarriage. So we've got a meager cockpit. I'll have to check, I guess I'll have to check the undercarriage door fit. Lots of wheels. Do we have, there's the missing engine piece, so that's okay. That looks like a nice molding. Nothing wrong with that. And undercarriage legs. So, you know, a simple enough undercarriage. It's just a lot of wheels and weathering to do. But where's our picture? So do we have a picture of it undercarriage down? Not really, but I mean, okay, so that's the clean look, that side view. And it obviously only has one place to go, which is on the ceiling. So I guess the purpose of undercarriage would only be if I take it to the club and put it down on the table. Give your opinions. Undercarriage bays. I'm thinking just close it up. This will need a lot of test fitting. Very, very long. I'll have to just check for warping and everything like that. It looks pretty good. Huge piece of plastic, that. Jeepers. Yeah, this has been waiting for many, many years. Can't even remember when I bought this, but after the B1, let us tackle this thing. It's got very simple undercarriage doors, which is very nice. So good decal set, a simple build, just very large, which means take one's time with the gluing, and that'll be more difficult than the Vulcan and certainly more difficult than the B1. The B1 I'm not expecting problems. Tonight, trying to get this wing. If I can actually get this wing seated lower, then that's a big bit of progress, because this should be the next model that I finish. But this is already looking like, although I haven't put the canopy on for this one, but that's the little Wildcat finished, Canberra finished, restoration or salvage of the Vulcan finished. one of the Porsches almost finished, another one of the Porsches almost finished. So for January alone, it's already looking like close to 5 builds, which is very good. And while I'm in this phase of not only working on models that have had a lot of work and are approaching getting finished, it is nice to at least have that happening, because it doesn't happen a lot. And I'm sort of thinking it might happen for most of this year, we'll hope. And that doesn't mean that I'm only doing models that have got a lot of work on them. There will be, I mean, I'll be starting that other little vampire soon. This one, the B1, that's all fresh starts. I don't think there are any more salvages for the moment, except, the other one I forgot is the Dornier X. So the Dornier X, which is built up to the stage at which I showed you in, and is one of those lined up for doing soon after this. I wouldn't call it a salvage. It's not really a salvage. It's just a build of a model that was started 3 decades ago. So anyway, we can look forward to a year of mini finishes. Okay, till next video, happy modeling.